Hello, I'm Moses. Today I wanted to show you something cool that I made. It's a speed tick calculator for Summoner's Wars because I got really tired of using the Google Sheets for speed ticks, and so I wrote this. It has some really nifty features that I would like to showcase here, and let's get into it. It's similar to the other speed tick calculators, but it has some nifty features. So let's start off with just showcasing a basic team and how it works. So let's start with my favorite AO, right? That's Neftis, Hongyeon, this guy, then Tiana, and then Zyros. As you can see, there are some aliases for the monsters, so even the monster search is pretty nice. And then let's give us the 24 lead from Neftis. Let's give them a 33 lead, 15 totem, and let's say that they have a Juno and a Vanessa. Right, let's use her speed lead. And just start with inputting the speed. So my Tiana is like 203. This one is like 215. And we will fill this in later. This is like 170. As you can see, you can already see the speed ticks down here. And let's make the Juno just a tiny bit lower than my Neftis. Let's make them the same speed. And yeah, so normally you would like manipulate the attacks bar like somewhere up here, or like you would put in how much these monsters like give you the attack bar. And here I just made the skills tab. Here you can put in how they manipulate attack bar or speed. So Hongyeon takes a turn first, and she will target her whole team, so the green team, and she will increase the attack bars by 15%. On her turn 1, the same or similar with Tiana, so apply on turn 1, target green team, increase by 30. And here we can already see just how much speed will the monsters need. So let's scroll a bit up so that the Zyros goes first. Now, that's not the only thing that happens in this team, right? Because the Neftis, when she gets a turn, she will also apply speed buff to Juno. Right, so let's put a skill. Let's target the red Juno. And let's say that we apply speed buff for, I don't know, is it 1 or 2 turns? Let's say 1 turn. Right? And here we can see that first Hongyeon moves, then Tiana, then Neftis, and then Juno will cut in. Right? So here is how much speed we need on the Zyros to make it properly speed tuned. Okay. So you got the gist. Now, there are other things that the skills can do. So, for example, you can apply a slow debuff. You can manipulate the speed by a custom amount. So, for example, if you have a miles, you would increase the speed by 5, increase by percent for however many turns you buff for, right? You can also strip the speed buff. Now, here is where the skills get applied, as you can see, and there are 2 special values. So those are 0 and -1. So 0 would mean that they get applied at the start of the battle. So, for example, if you have Chilling in your team and you have him on Shield Will, you just add 19.5 or 39, right, for 2 buffs. You increase it by a set amount, and you increase it for 1 turn or 2 or however many, right? And you can do pretty much anything here, right? You can give them speed buff, right, at the start of battle. who cares? You can do anything here. As a next example, I would like to show you how you can speed tune, for example, the Seishizo team that he made for dragons, the super safe one. Here you can do just D12, and you can do the boss, and you can do the right tower and left tower. Here, all the speeds are in immediately. They don't get any buffs, but you get 15% totem. This is the turn order, if I remember correctly. Right, and here you just put in the speeds. Right, it was like 170. And she basically has to be on Swift. Right, so that's the difference. Already shows you that if she has a Swift runes, if she has Swift runes, that she doesn't make it, but if she doesn't, she does. Right, so 170. Then Julie, you probably want to make her move in the next tick, so here. And then the China, that was like 80 something 6. Yeah, then Luna right after. Not sure, but she should move like twice, right? So let's do that, and let's make it so that she increases her own attack bar by 100% on her first turn. Just target self, and then you just make Liam faster than the dragon, which is like this. Right, and so these would be the speeds, and it already shows the correct turn order in which the monsters will take turns. Right, you can do something very similar, like let's say that this wasn't Luna, it was like the Wind Nezuko, so she would increase the attack bar of someone else, right? Let's say Shaina. Where is Shaina? Green, Shaina, right? And here we can see that Shaina moves, then Luna, then Shaina again, because she got increased attack bar. And you can stack as many of the buffs onto one another as you want. For example, if this was Vert, you would just apply it on your whole team, and you would increase it by 40, and you would apply it every single turn, right? So yeah, so here we have Luna that's role playing as Verdeheil, and these would be the speed ticks if that was the case. Right, so with these effects you can, and you can even put multiple skills in, like however many you want, and they will all just recalculate. Now, you already saw me in the first example using this search in some funky ways. You can use it in some really funky ways. For example, water or blue, Rakan, and we have Teshar here. There's a bunch of aliases on a bunch of those monsters. If you would like me to add more, just ask me on Discord and I can make that happen. Another thing you can do is that you can register. So you register, you put in your credentials, you register, you don't save it because why? And then this thing pops up. Right, so here you would save a team, like B12 team, you put in some monsters. Let's assume that you put in your team, and here you can save it into the database, and it just gets saved, and you can work on something else, and then you can just load it. And you can also like duplicate it or save as a new team. Let's say that you make some changes, right? Let's make her faster, save as a new team. Right, right. This is the new one, so it has the updated speed. You can export it. That will export it as JSON. Right, so here, like whatever the tool uses internally, and you can import it from here, right? right? Import, right? And then you have it in a new theme and you can save that, or you can also quick share it, which will also save it to the database. Now that's saved into the database, and here you have a link. So you just copy that. You can even log out, and you have an empty page, and this will just load it back up. And you can share this with anyone, anywhere, and when they visit this share link, they will just get this theme straight up, and they can do all the things with it. Now, this calculator isn't perfect. There are still some things that need to be tested. So, for example, custom speed buffs. If you have chilling, does his passive kick in before the speed buff gets applied or after it gets applied? I'm not sure. Here is the code for the simulator. Like if you want some reading, like you can go through that, and if you see any mistakes, just please tell me. The data that comes into it, you can get that by just hitting this export button, and you get the JSON that it works with. It can also do Leo, and it will calculate him correctly. What it cannot do is the speed limit in Necro, and it can't do Rift Beasts and Labyrinth because they have, well, they don't have standard speed ticks, right? Anything that uses normal speed ticks you can do in here. In theory, even RTA, but I'm not sure what the order of RTA monsters is when they have the same speed. So you would have to test that, and it probably wouldn't be this pretty. I might get into testing it at some point, how that works. And then I wanted some funny way to end the video, but there is no funny way, so just end.